It's time to dig through the waiver wire and find some players that can help you right now in fantasy baseball. This time, going to give you a full baker's dozen worth of players, both hitters and pitchers, that could help you. All right, now this one might be a little bit late, but better late than never. But if Vaughn Grissom hasn't been added, go ahead and pick him up right now. Now, he isn't off to a hot start, but just the fact that he's in Atlanta now, playing shortstop every day, that's what we've been waiting for. The only reason he didn't crack the opening day roster was service time manipulation, and Orlando Arcia actually was holding down pretty well that job, and then they extended him. Looked like Grissom might be down laboring in the minors for a while, but then Arcia got hurt. And here we go, Grissom's got the job, which really should be his anyways. He was raking in the minors, hitting .366 in AAA, couple homers, couple steals, and that's what he can bring. He could actually help in 5 categories. Now, he's not off to a blazing start so far, hitting .273 and only 2 RBIs, no other counting stats. But it's only been a week, 6 games worth. Over the long haul, you'll be glad you have him on your roster. So again, if he's still out there, go ahead and make a claim right now. And then another player I talked about in my prospect report just 2 weeks ago, telling you, make that pickup now before it's too late. Well, it might not be too late for Brett Baty of the New York Mets. Just over half owned in most fantasy leagues. So a lot of people maybe still playing the waiting game to see if he holds down a regular job. And that's still debatable. At this point right now, the Mets are using him only against right-handers. Eduardo Escobar, as bad as he's been this year, is still in the mix. Did go deep the other day. We're going to have to really see how this plays out if Baty stays up, plays enough to be fantasy relevant, and of course, if he actually hits major league pitching well. Remember, last year, he only hit 184 in his cup of coffee, but he's got nothing else to prove at the minor league level. He was absolutely raking, hitting 400, and so sending him down would be kind of pointless. He has been scooped up in a lot of competitive leagues, but people are impatient, and so a few more days, if he doesn't play more than every other day, if he doesn't hit right away, you might see him start to get dropped in a lot of leagues. I would say, depending on how deep your rosters are, wait it out. This is a guy who's definitely going to be worth it if he does get that everyday job and starts hitting the way he's capable of. Now let's get to another prospect. Now this guy has been with the club since opening day, and I mentioned him in the preseason. Made a bold prediction about Esteury Ruiz, who is in Oakland. We know he's got blazing speed, one of the fastest guys in the major leagues. The only issue is the fact, well, number one, he's playing in Oakland. That's not really good for an offensive player. But really the issue I had was that starting the year, he was batting 9th. And that hurts, of course, those counting stats so hard to accumulate. Well, guess what? He's finally there. This is what I was waiting for and hoping for. He's the leadoff guy. And sure enough, we're already seeing dividends. Just in the past 10 days, he swiped 4 bags and he's hitting .302. You know the trade-off here. You're not getting power and definitely not RBIs. You need steals, and this is a guy you should be looking for first and foremost. A little bit more well-rounded. How about Brandon Marsh in Philadelphia? With all those injuries, has managed to work himself into an everyday job. Now, his ownership has definitely climbed the last week or two because people are noticing, hey, he's hitting pretty well. He's up there among the league leaders in terms of batting average. The main reason he's now become more valuable is, first of all, regular, consistent playing time in Philadelphia and batting 5th, which is a nice spot to be in, but also cutting down on the strikeouts. Was an insane 34.3% last year, kind of unacceptable for a guy who wants to be in the lineup every day. Well, this year he had cut it down to 24%. It's starting to climb a little bit over the last couple of days. He's actually taking more walks too, and he's hitting for some power. Some people are worried that when Bryce Harper comes back, which could be a month or even less, that might push Marsh out of regular ABs. Here's the thing. This team has Schwarber at DH. Do they really want to put him in the field? As I mentioned just a couple days ago, we've seen that Bryce Harper is taking ground balls at first base. It wouldn't surprise me if they do move Harper to first, put Bohm back at third, his natural position. Sosa, who's really more of a utility guy, gets pushed to a utility role on the bench. Marsh just keeps his job as long as he keeps hitting. Look at him as a short-term ad, but hope for long-term production. Still looking for outfield help? Maybe have to dig a little bit deeper because these guys are rostered in your league. How about Jarren Duran in Boston. Just got recalled less than a week ago. All he's done is hit safely in his first 5 games since joining the Red Sox. Not only that, but he's driven in a run in 4 of those 5 games with 6 RBI total in those 5 games. He's not so much a power hitter, but he does have speed, so don't be surprised if you see some stolen bases every now and again as well. He has struggled in his time in the majors last year. Didn't go over so well. A lot of people were hyped to see him get called up, and it didn't end in the way that they wanted. This could be different. Boston a lot better on offense this year so far. So Duran, again, a guy worth taking a shot on if you're looking for some upside. Of course, you need help at catcher. Even guys like Will Smith now on the short-term IL. Some guys just flat out not hitting or hurt. Look to Jonah Heim in Texas. Batting average right now up to 311. Home runs, 3. RBIs, 11. Favorite rock band? 311. I'm not sure about that last part, but I do know this is a guy who is an offensive-minded catcher and getting most of the playing time behind the plate in Texas. Even without Corey Seager right now, this offense is rolling and clicking for the most part, and Heim got off to a slow start, but now he's coming around. This is a guy I had some high hopes for in the preseason, so I feel pretty confident. I'll tell you, there's one league, a very deep competitive league, where I had Danny Jansen, thought he would be a good option, pretty safe guy at catcher. I'm done with him and his 118 average or whatever it is. I put Heim in there. I'm not looking back. Now on to pitching. How about the number 1 pitching prospect for the number 1 team in the majors? That would be Taj Bradley and then Tampa Bay. We know Tyler Glasnow out, Zach Eflin out, and now Jeffrey Springs, just when it looked like he was having a breakout season, out. With all these injuries, Bradley got the call. So far, so good in 2 starts. In fact, 2 wins, only 3 runs allowed, 17-2 strikeout to walk ratio. He has a 4-pitch mix, a filthy fastball, and he can definitely generate whiffs. That's what you're looking for. Favorable home park in Tampa, great team to be on. Bradley is definitely a priority pickup. I know you wish you would have done it a week ago or so, but if he's still out there, just go ahead and pony up. It might not be too late to get the Oakland A's top pitching prospect, that's Mason Miller. If Bradley has a nasty fastball, well, Miller's is just plain disgusting. Averages 100 on the fastball and got as high as 101.8 in the minors. In fact, he's recorded 13 of the 25 fastest pitches at the AAA level so far this season. Velocity alone can only take you so far, but good thing that Miller also has the command, and that's why he's now getting a shot in the big league rotation. And I say you can still probably get a hold of him because his first start was all right, nothing amazing, not as good as Bradley was. Facing the Cubs, gave up 2 runs, 4 hits, 1 walk, and 5 strikeouts. Pretty good, especially considering how hot that Cubs offense has been. Because he's on a lesser team and he's only made 1 start so far, a lot of people aren't on him yet unless they're prospect hounds. Again, if you're a super competitive league, I hear you, and I'll give you some more choices a little bit later on that might be available. But right now, look to Mason Miller because his upside is through the roof. All right, here's a deeper option. Kyle Bradish of the Baltimore Orioles. In part 2 of my pitcher breakouts for preseason, I did mention his name, so I'm sticking with it. He was not good last year. Let's just call it what it is. ERA of 4.90, whip of 1.40. But he's made some adjustments this offseason. This is still a very young pitcher. This Baltimore team, just in general, on the upswing. And Bradish so far, really sharp. Hasn't allowed a run in his first 7 2/3 innings. Now, that's really 1 start, technically 2, but his first start had a comebacker, bone bruise, went on the IL short term. He's back. He blanked Washington. Let's see how he does this next time out. This is still kind of a wait and see thing. Don't want to put him in there and watch him get lit up, but I do like his stuff. I like his makeup. I think if he can prove over the next couple of starts that he is going to be consistently hitting the strike zone, somebody that could definitely help you out. Now let's make our way to Arizona, and a guy that's really starting to catch my attention, that's Dre Jameson. The Diamondbacks, they've got some good prospects, especially in their pitching system. One of them is Ryan Nelson, and he's not doing so well, and he might get sent down pretty soon. The guy I'm talking about right now is Jameson. He's been in the bullpen so far, but forced into the rotation. Madison Bumgarner, DFA'd, no longer a Diamondback. Veteran Zach Davies, also on the shelf. They're running out of arms, really, as options for this rotation. So it looks like Jameson might stay there long term. He's got a whiff rate in the 94th percentile. I will say, one look right now, his harder hit rate is way too high. Some of his peripherals suggests that he might be due for a bad outing here pretty soon. It's going to happen, right? Young pitchers, which is largely what you're going to find on the waiver wire, guys with upside, but also guys who are going to be inconsistent. I'm going to say right now, maybe pick your spots with him. He's got good stuff. He's going to stick in the rotation most likely, and he could be a good matchup-based starting pitcher. And what if you're still looking for saves? Well, let's stay in Arizona. Andrew Chafin, somebody who wasn't necessarily expected to be a closer coming into the season, but he's always had the stuff and the makeup to do that. Right now, putting up a 38.5% CSW. If you're not familiar, that's called strikes and whiffs combined. That's 17th best in the majors among all pitchers. So he can get you saves, he can get you Ks. Arizona, type of team that looks like they'll be winning close games, and really there's not any competition at this point for that job. Chafin isn't some young buck. He's somebody who's a veteran, experienced, just hasn't ever been the guy as a closer. Now he's getting the chance. And what if you're in a league that uses holds or saves and holds? How about Holderman? That's right, Colin Holderman in Pittsburgh is a guy that should be rostered in all leagues that count holds. Name aside, let's look at the fact that he's got 7 holds already, and it looks like he's going to be the 8th inning guy for the foreseeable future, right behind David Bednar. Also, consider him kind of a handcuff, because if Bednar goes down, and you remember, he missed quite a bit of time last season with injury, then maybe Holderman isn't in line for saves. Hard to even believe I'm saying this, but the Pirates are now 14-7. Looks like they're going to win a lot of close games, at least for now. So Holderman, definitely a guy to be adding in that format. And I will just throw this out there. Robert Stevenson also in Pittsburgh. Now, I've added him in a couple leagues, deep leagues, NL-only leagues, places where Holderman's not available. Stevenson started out late because he started on the IL. He's back. It's a guy who's experienced, been with Cincinnati, Colorado, got some good stuff. He's going to be used in probably a 7th inning role for now. He'll get a couple of holds, 3rd in line for saves, maybe works his way up. Things happen. So Robert Stevenson, again, your deep league relief pitching option. You know, what the hell? Let's do one more. Mauricio Dubon, utility infielder, but now starting second baseman for the defending champions. Jose Altuve, of course, out for a while. Well, Dubon is the guy who's holding down that job. 15-game hitting streak. That'll get your interest. He also swiped his first bag just today. Now, you're not going to get power here. This is a light-hitting middle infielder after all. You're in a league where you need some middle infield help. You just want to boost your average, get a guy who can score some runs who, oh, by the way, he's been hitting leadoff lately. And why shouldn't he? The fact he's getting on base every single game. If you look for help, he should be available in a lot of leagues. Go ahead and grab him now. Don't just settle for making moves on waivers. Make some moves in the trade market. Here are 3 guys that you should be buying and selling right now.